Good morning. I just got back from the gym and realized that Mass from 7 o'clock this morning is still uploading on YouTube. Upload times have been extremely slow lately. It's been 3 hours and it's still not even 10% uploaded. So Tuesday was also slow. My apologies. It is on there, but today's is very slowly uploading. So I thought I would just leave a brief reflection here on YouTube if you want to get on with your day. Today's the feast of St. Ignatius of Loyola, the founder of the Jesuits. And we're so grateful to St. Ignatius of Loyola, first of all, for founding the Jesuits, who do so many fantastic things in the church and especially here in our diocese. All the ways the Jesuits serve us as educators and also in parish ministry and in spiritual direction. In so many wonderful ways, the Jesuits have enhanced the life of the Diocese of Kansas City, St. Joseph, and we're very grateful. About 17 years ago, I went to the Creighton Spirituality Program for a couple of summers. I just took a couple of courses each summer. My goal was to get a certificate in spiritual direction. I never finished the program because I was moved. But those courses that I took there were so transformative and helpful for me. And much of that spirituality program, as you might guess, is based on the thinking and the spirituality of St. Ignatius of Loyola. Uh, he is held up as quite the guru in that program. And it's been great for me to learn more about Ignatian spirituality because, as somebody told me once years ago, it's very practical. It's very much based on experience. And there's a freedom in that, I think, to own our experience and to trust the movements of the Spirit and to learn to discern how God moves in our lives and also to acknowledge that the power of darkness is just as much at work in the world and can also be moving in our lives. So, learning to discern how God moves and how the power of darkness moves is an important part of Ignatian spirituality. One of the rules that I really learned to apply in a very real way happened in one of my classes there. We were taking a class in the spiritual exercises of St. Ignatius, and I felt like everybody else in the class knew so much more and was doing so much better with us. Again, it's very experientially based, and I tend to prefer more of an academic approach in a class. Uh, and it always felt like I wasn't connecting with the material. Again, I like more of an academic approach. Uh, but this teacher was really trying to lead us through the spiritual exercises through the span of the course. And I went and told her one day that I just didn't feel like I was getting it, and that I felt like I was surrounded by people who were better than me or smarter than me, and that maybe I shouldn't continue with the class. And she said, this is where Ignatius can really be your friend and your helper, because Ignatius experienced what we call desolation, something like what you're going through. And he developed some rules for the experience of desolation. He acknowledged that it's always going to be there in our lives. So pretending like we should always be in a state of consolation isn't realistic. So that's a good starting point, just to accept the fact that as much as we'd love to feel consolation all the time, there are going to be periods of desolation. So accepting that is a good starting point. But then she said, this can really help you to discern the movements in your own heart. Uh, she said Ignatius really taught that you can tell where one of these movements is coming from if you can tell where it's leading you. So she said, in this situation, it seems to me that uh, this movement is really leading you down a path of discouragement, a path of giving up, a path of uh, giving in. And it seems like you're here because you want to learn, and this is an opportunity to learn. And this movement is trying to derail uh, your experience of this class. And as we talked, I started to realize she was really right that this movement was not a constructive thing. It was a destructive thing. Judging myself, being dismissive of the class, and wanting to leave and give it up. Um, and she said that movement's probably not from God because it's leading you away from a better experience of God. And it was such a great moment for me to get that practical application of Ignatian spirituality, that uh, that movement in my heart was leading me away from God. So it must not have been coming from God. Uh, God is not one to send us loads of discouragement and uh, trying to derail us and frustrate us. It was really a good experience to have somebody guide me through one of those rules for discernment of spirits from Ignatius. So uh, to this day, I'm so grateful for the gift of Ignatian spirituality, its practical application, that it's based on his own experience, and that he had many of these experiences in his own life. Uh, I think it helps us to bring spirituality into our daily lives, or bring daily life into our spirituality, um, to integrate the two, or to create a harmony there, that spirituality isn't something you do away from your life. That what's happening in the course of your daily life is your experience of God. It is your experience of the gospel and how you love God and love neighbor. And good, healthy discernment can really help us to keep making good choices in the midst of the moments, the inevitable moments of consolation and desolation. Consolation being drawn to God and toward things of God, desolation being uh, drawn away from God and away from the things of God. Uh, Having good ability to discern those movements uh, is a tremendous gift for every human being. And it's one of the great contributions to spirituality that St. Ignatius of Loyola has made. And there are many great contributions in his rules for discernment of spirits and in his spiritual exercises. So we celebrate today a tremendous saint, a practical saint, a down to earth person, and one who can be a great companion and guide for us now.